Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Welcome into the opening line report here for Monday, March 21st. I am Drew Martin, joined by Teddy Covers. We're breaking down Sweet 16 lines, the opening lines here, where we think they'll end up by tip-off, and also look ahead towards the Virgin MLB season win total numbers, see where Teddy and I think these are moving. But without further ado, happy Monday morning to you, Teddy. Welcome on in, buddy.
And Drew, I got to give you all the credit in the world, my friend. All right, just so you guys know, Drew was out in Vegas partying hard all weekend. Okay, all of us were. Took a red-eye flight, didn't sleep, and is still competent and awake enough to do the show with me right now. Drew, I appreciate it, my friend, and I know it was a heck of a weekend. For those of you who missed it, all I can say is the next time WagerTalk hosts a party in Vegas, come, because this was fun. It was fun for everybody, and of course, we gave a ton of stuff away. So it was cheap for everybody too, but nothing but a blast at the Westgate all weekend long. Drew, I know I had fun. We hung out a whole bunch, had some nice dinners, and watched a whole bunch of competitive, exciting basketball, start to finish for the last 4 days. I'm pretty shattered. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I did sleep a little bit on the plane, Teddy. I do like taking the red eye back east, not going west, but going east. And I'll say this. Caffeine is a heck of a drug, Teddy, so it keeps me rocking here. I'll go for another couple hours grinding out some games, and then we'll probably call it a Monday, get ready for Tuesday. But overall, I had a great weekend, man. WagerTalk really put it together, guys. Next one they do in Las Vegas, really wherever it happens, need to be here. Next one we do, and yeah, the people were great, Teddy. The games were great, too. You're right, man. The sportsbook was absolutely rocking all weekend long. I mean, when we were throwing that party, it was loud. People were having a great time, sweating out the games. Vegas is back as well. That's another thing I kind of took in. With COVID coming back, Vegas was not really the Vegas that I remember, but it's back now, Teddy. That's good to see.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it certainly was this weekend, but it's been that way. It's not like this is new or different. It's been that way since, I would say, the start of football season last summer at some point. I mean, Vegas has been, quote-unquote, normal, like you expect Las Vegas to be. But from a basketball perspective, there are some opening weekends, certainly some, first 2 days of the big dance that just don't have the excitement that you expect. This was not one of those weekends. There was drama and point spread drama everywhere, as expected. But when you talk about bucket list things to do, and then again, I'm jaded now. I've been in Vegas 25 years, and I've been every single March Madness during those 25 years. But it's something you want. If you're a sports bettor, it's something you want to do once. It's something you want to experience once. Being in the book all day Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, insane action. All weekend long. It really is. We talk about Super Bowl being Christmas for sports bettors, and it is. But the opening weekend of March Madness, that's 4 days worth of action, where the Super Bowl is 3.5 hours. So it's a different pace to the opening weekend than it is to the big game in February.
Yeah, I like them both, but March Madness is better. Conference tournament and March Madness is better because, like Teddy was kind of alluding to, it's spread out over more time. You have more time to kind of enjoy it. The Super Bowl's 3 hours done. Get all your bets in. That's it. March Madness, if you're down, you got a chance to come back. You get a chance to enjoy it with your friends. A lot of games on. So I do agree with you, Teddy. And one other thing, a lot of people coming up to me saying, opening line report with Teddy Covers. That's how they know me. So, guys, I appreciate you coming out and saying hello to me in person, and also anybody out there, saying hello in the reply section below. So, Teddy, I know you like that as well, man. It was really good to see kind of the audience for the opening line report really digging the show.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the truth of it, all right? We put out content. I put out content every day. I put out plays and content. That's my job. That's what I do. but we don't necessarily, we get the feedback via Twitter. I get feedback when I stink. I get feedback when I win a bunch. But we don't actually get to meet the people that are watching the show every day and to have the opportunity to shake guys' hands. Hey, this is what I like. Hey, this is what I don't like. Hey, I really enjoy the off-season shows. This is what you should focus on. I'm asking people, what do I do in the off-season? What do you like about the shows? What don't you? It's a really good chance for us to get feedback. It's a really good chance for us to meet the people that we talk to every week. So again, it's not like you lost anything by not being here. It's okay. I had a great opening weekend at home, I hope. But if you have the opportunity to come to a Wager Talk party, with anything like this last one, I encourage you, get your butt out to Vegas. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Aaron Williams in the chat box, Mike Campbell as well. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Teddy, let's we're going to do Sweet 16 lines here, see where they're going, and MLB as well. So starting off, Thursday, in rotation order, guys, looking at the Wager Talk odds screen, we got 623, 624. Interestingly enough, it's the later game first. Not really sure why they did that rotation-wise, but it's Arizona and Houston, Teddy, going at it in AT&T Center. That is in San Antonio, Texas. We're seeing 144.5 or 145 being the total, and -2, pretty much about where it opened. We are seeing DraftKings -1.5. What are you thinking here with the Houston Cougars, with the 5 seed and the 1 seed Arizona Wildcats? Kind of, I don't want to say lucky to be here, but taken to overtime in that 1-8 second round game. So Arizona making it here, -2 point favorites, Teddy.
Oh, I thought TCU was going to beat him last night. TCU had him on the ropes. They made Arizona look a little bit lost during crunch time. They hit the big 3 to get the game tied again, and then ended up winning in the extra session. Arizona, there's certainly plenty of talent for the Arizona Wildcats. And you made an interesting point there, Drew. And when I don't know, so this is one of those things I just don't know, like how the actual rotation numbers are set, why the first rotation numbers are the late games. And it's the same thing in the East, where the first rotation numbers are the late games. I don't know how, I've been out here all these years, and I don't know how rotation numbers are set. I used to hang out in the Don Best house. I don't know how rotation numbers are set. They're just set. Somebody sets them, and then everyone uses them. So I can't tell you why or how. Nonetheless, Houston and Arizona. And again, from a seeding standpoint, Houston was a number 5 seed. From a Sagarin, or from a Ken Palm standpoint, Houston entered the tournament as the 4th best team in the country, and after they won their first 2 games, right now, according to the Ken Palm numbers, they have Gonzaga 1, Houston 2, Arizona 3. Okay, so It's clearly a Houston team that the advanced metrics are saying this team is really, really, really good. So is the point spread. Arizona's the 1 seed. They are one of the favorites to win it all, and they're only 2-point chalk here. And again, we saw Arizona get tested by a really good defensive team and then hit tough shots to win. Houston's a really good defensive team. Interesting to see this total, though. You think about Houston pace-wise. We don't necessarily think of the Cougs as a fast-paced team. And then we saw in my big game breakdown on Wager Talk today on Friday, I like the under with Houston and UAB, and that was dead wrong. Houston was very happy to pick up the tempo against another good defensive team. So this total open anywhere 144 to 145.5. And we've seen the early money come towards the over for what it's worth. The side's not doing anything right now. It's sitting in Arizona 2. It hasn't really moved. Westgate opened 1. They're the only book that I saw that opened 1, and I got bet to 2. It's sitting at 2 right now. If you like the over, you may want to get involved on a Monday morning with this one. We have, again, seen some movement towards the over off that first opening number. In Houston, when they play the elite defensive teams, they don't mind pushing the pace at all.
Yeah, interesting take there on the total, Teddy, because it is a contrast of styles, particularly like when you look at, their year-long metrics, guys. We get Arizona a top 5 team in terms of adjusted tempo, whereas Houston, about a bottom 25 team, one of the 25 slowest teams in terms of getting up and down the court. So to see this total in the mid 140s was kind of surprising to me, but looking a little bit deeper, Teddy, like you're talking about, that was good analysis there. Against certain teams, they will kind of push it a little bit. So maybe Arizona controls the pace a little bit more here, guys. In Houston, if they are going to have, a lot of possessions, you tell me this goes over 72 possessions. This thing's going over, Teddy, because Houston is very good, offensive efficiency wise. So I thought that was a great breakdown, guys. Moving down the list here, we got a second game, your Michigan Wolverines, Teddy. Villanova Wildcats, same place, AT&T Center, San Antonio, Texas, -5, -4.5 at others. Kind of a split line here. That's Nova as the favorite, Teddy. 135 being the total. Michigan, not a Cinderella, but an 11 seed, making it to the Sweet 16. What are you thinking here, Michigan Villanova, Teddy?
Well, they're not the only one. One last point about Houston. You talked about the Cougs offensively. And remember, Houston's a team that has 5 guys who average double digits. And then the 6th guy off the bench averages like 9.5 points a game. So they have that balanced scoring that allows them at times to avoid the problems that teams that, have only 1 or 2 scorers, and then those guys get double and triple teamed and they have issues. That's not the case for the Cougars offensively. Michigan was a very good team for me this weekend. And it's so funny. Every time I bet on Michigan, they'll be like, you're such a homer. You're such a homer. It's like, no. This is almost an auto bet for me every year. The team that everyone says is not supposed to be there, you bet on that team, and then you bet on them again when they win the first game. And that's what the Wolverines did over the weekend. They cashed a pair of tickets for my clients and I, knocking off Tennessee, and then winning again on what was that, Saturday or Sunday? The whole weekend's kind of a blur right now, but winning again
second round
in the last 48 hours. And of course, the Big Ten as a conference got slapped around a little bit. All right, in theory. All right, 9 Big Ten teams make the dance, only 2 make the Sweet 16. Mathematically, how many are supposed to make it? 2 1/4. In theory, 2 1/4 Big Ten teams are supposed to make it. So it wasn't like the Big Ten got humiliated and embarrassed as much as I think the pundits and the media are giving, throwing shade on the Big Ten. I'm not buying it. The only Big Ten team to lose his chalk was Wisconsin. Everyone else was a dog in their game over the weekend. And Michigan won as a dog over the weekend, again, knocking off Tennessee. So that being said, Villanova is going to be the public side here. You can count on it. There's the casual bettors continue to look at the Wolverines as they shouldn't be here. And Villanova is a team that's been competing for championships every year or many years in recent seasons. We haven't seen the wise guys really do anything with this yet. Open 5, anywhere from 134.5 to 135.5, and it's still basically sitting 5, 135. So I'm seeing, again, some indicators that this total could go up a little bit, but it's not going to skyrocket. This isn't a game that you have to bet on Monday morning, whichever side you like.
Yeah, Teddy, and Villanova winning 2 of the last 6 national championships, I believe. So I don't disagree with you there in terms of them possibly being the public side. We get Thursday action, change of location here, guys. West Regional Semifinals, Chase Center, San Francisco, California. First game up, rotation order, Arkansas and Gonzaga. Teddy, you bring up the conferences, how they've done. SEC kind of falling on their face. Just Arkansas. Ooh, pig suey. I'll tell you this, Teddy, a surprise from being in Vegas. I think Arkansas was the loudest fan base in the Westgate sports book, which is surprising because from living there, I remember Pac-12 and Big Ten were kind of well represented in Vegas. SEC, it's there, but it's not as big as those two. I don't know. Arkansas was as loud as anybody, in my opinion, when they were playing. 154.5 being the total, 8.5. That's Gonzaga as the favorite. Tricky handicap here, Teddy. What do you think at Arkansas Gonzaga?
Well, part of it, is that Arkansas had a decent betting bandwagon. So I don't think it was all just Arkansas fans that were, or Arkansas, Arkansas fans that were better. They had whoever's betting on them is cheering and loud. And of course, when you're talking about the cheers, shoo hog is kind of a loud one. So
they got a good one.
That'll fill up the sports book. Nonetheless, so the SEC did not have a great first 2 days of the tournament. That doesn't mean the SEC is a bad conference. Doesn't mean they had a bad year. I thought the SEC was good. this year. They had some tough matchups and they had some bad games, but the Hogs are the last one standing in that regard. Gonzaga, from a power rating standpoint, number one team in Ken Palm this year, number one team by a wide margin. They're 5 points better than anybody else, according to Ken Palm. Didn't cover the number in either of the first two games, so we don't have the betting bandwagon for the Zags, perhaps as much as we do for other teams. In many ways, you say they're lucky to survive and advance past Memphis, but it's not unusual to see the elite teams get tested. They're better for being tested in that regard. Total here open anywhere between 154 and 156.5. Side open anywhere between 8 and 9. And basically we're seeing 8.5 and 154.5 right now at most locations. Again, I'm not seeing a whole lot of urgency to get involved with this one. The line's not moving a whole lot here on Monday.
Okay. Yeah, this is a tough one for me, Teddy. I mean, 8 in the hook, Gonzaga, and you bring up Ken Palm giving Gonzaga good ratings. And I know that he brings in, strength of schedule, what conference they're playing in. It's just, the 8 in the hook, it's interesting to me. I thought Arkansas would get money, but if they haven't yet, you're right. It might not move that much before tip, guys. So, hey, it's kind of a tough one to call for me, Teddy. We get Texas Tech and Duke in the nightcap there in San Francisco. -1 in the hook here, kind of depending where you're shopping. That's the Red Raiders as the favorite. 136.5 or 137 being the total here. Teddy, it's kind of a theme out there in the tournament, talking about the tournament. Is this kind of a path for Duke to just move on here with Coach K and company, kind of his last year, kind of the market liking them? But I don't know. This is a tough trip for him. I like Texas Tech this year, Teddy. -1.5, 136.5 the total. What are you thinking? Red Raiders and Blue Devils.
This will be another sharp square divide game, like Michigan Villanova. The Joes are going to like Villanova, and the Joes are going to like Duke. You can count on that. Duke is the public favorite in this tournament. And, of course, they were able to get the point spread cover in the latter stages against Michigan State yesterday. So that helps build a betting bandwagon for a team that already has a pretty big betting bandwagon, already has the sentimental favorite status, and already has, the one team that the books don't want to cut down the nets is Duke. There's a lot of liability there that there isn't for most other squads. And yet, lo and behold, this isn't a scenario where one book opened here and one book opened there. All right, I'm tracking 4 books for the openers, 5 books for the openers, and every one of them opened Texas Tech -1. And we're still looking at Texas Tech -1. Total open anywhere between 136 and 138, sitting in the middle right now, 136.5, 137. But this much you can count on. The books that cater to recreational bettors, Duke may well go off the favorite. The books that cater to the wise guys and more serious bettors, Texas Tech will go off the favorite. And again, you look at those Ken Palm numbers. Ken Palm has Texas Tech as the number 6 team in the country. All right. They're behind Gonzaga, Houston, Arizona, and Kansas in terms of still standing teams. So they're power rated very, very highly, even though they have 9 losses on the season. And that is certainly reflected in this point spread. Duke, again, they're not like they're way behind Texas Tech. They're power rated 9th. But the Red Raiders are power rated 6th. That's why they're favorites here. And that's why you can expect, again, this has sharp square divide written all over it. And the pros will be on the Red Raiders. Likely
halfway through, guys. We got 4 games left here. Next stop, the East Regional Semifinals. So the East bracket, Teddy, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Again, going back to the rotation order, this is the late game first. UNC versus UCLA, 142 being the total, -2. There is a -2.5 out there at Circa. That's UCLA, the Bruins, as the favorite. North Carolina coming off of beating the 1 seed. Baylor, first 1 seed, showed the door as UNC punches the ticket into the second round, or into the second weekend, Teddy. And in my opinion, getting some respect here in the marketplace. I mean, only a 2-point spread against UCLA. What are you thinking here, North Carolina and UCLA, Teddy?
Yeah, and of course, you can make an argument that North Carolina was completely devalued on the opening weekend of the tournament. They were cheap in both of their games. and are able to win, with room to spare in both contests. And this is one where we have seen some action this morning. And the money's come towards North Carolina. This was high as 3.5 at the opener at the Westgate. There were 2.5s across the country, and now there are a couple of 2.5s still remaining, but mostly 2s out there. If you do like the Tar Heels, I wouldn't argue with finding a plus 2.5 right now. There's still a handful there, and putting that in your pocket. I'm not convinced that's going to be there for much longer. All the money has come for the underdog in this one, with I'm not going to say a lack of respect for UCLA in the betting markets. It's like North Carolina's just been power rated in the same range, but they're moving up. All that being said, again, looking at the Ken Pom numbers, UCLA 8th in the country, 6th amongst the teams still remaining. 9 of the top 12 in the Ken Pom rankings are still standing. Baylor got knocked out. Kentucky got knocked out. Tennessee got knocked out. And then once you get into the teens, Auburn, Iowa, Texas, St. Mary's, Illinois, etc., that have all gone home. But amongst the top 12, only 3 of those top 12 are sitting, heading to the Sweet 16. 9 still standing, including the UCLA Bruins.
Interesting take, Teddy. And the first tip here in Philadelphia, 633-634 as we're going down in rotation order using the WagerTalk odds screen, guys. 135.5 being the total between St. Peter's and Purdue, and the highest spread on the board for the Sweet 16, Teddy. We're seeing minus 12 in the hook. That's minus 12.5, guys. Boilermakers as the favorite as we get the 3 seed Purdue Boilermakers. And the Cinderella of the tournament here, Teddy, St. Peter's at the 15 seed, of course, knocking off Kentucky. And then Murray State, the Racers, back-to-back games. You think they got a shot here? 12.5. Well, the market telling us that. What about a shot to go on to the Elite Eight here? St. Peter's got a shot, Teddy?
Everyone's got a shot, So you're saying there's a chance? Yeah, of course there's a chance. Did you think St. Peter's going to beat Kentucky in straight-up fashion?
No.
They got a chance. Everyone's got a chance. Have we ever seen Purdue blow a game that they were favored in the Matt Painter era? Gee, once, twice, 20 times? Sure, we've seen it. All that being said, this is another. You can look at it and say it's a lock. This is a sharp square divide. All right. The Joes are going to be all over St. Pete. Back-to-back upsets. The upstart that's supposed to be here. They're the biggest point spread, the biggest underdog on the board. They already have a huge betting bandwagon. It's only going to get bigger this week. All right. Joes are looking at the St. Peter's side, and pros aren't. Again, when you look at the team still standing, I've got Purdue going to my Final Four. They're only ranked 12th in Ken Pom, but you compare that to where St. Peter's is ranked, and they are by far the lowest team still standing. I'll just put it to you this way. Miami's ranked 42, and St. Peter's is ranked 101. And those are the bottom 2. So there's no betting market respect for St. Pete's. And we will see the wise guys bet on Purdue. Open 13 at some books, 12.5 at others. And I wouldn't be, again, this has a potential that the recreational books have a different point spread than at the wise guy catering books, because we're going to see, the pros on one side, the Joes on the other. Total wise, we have seen a little bit, and I mean a little bit of over money. I'm not convinced we're going to see a whole lot more than what we've already seen, especially with St. Pete playing at a snail's pace. But this is a pros versus Joes game. Pros on Purdue, Joes on St. Peter's.
Yeah, St. Peter's not playing fast, and Purdue doesn't really either, Teddy. Tempo-wise, their offense very efficient. They just don't, necessarily push the pace. So laying 12.5, I don't know. I don't know if I'll get there side-wise or totals-wise in this one, but a fun one to watch is the Cinderella and St. Peter's from the MAAC, the MAAC. And by the way, guys, they didn't even win that conference regular season-wise. They kind of upset and won the tournament to punch their ticket there. Iona was the one that won the regular season. So even more kind of interesting in terms of the Cinderella being alive. We got 2 games left here, guys, as we move on to Chicago, Illinois in the Midwest Regional, as the 2 seed was shown the door. That's the Auburn Tigers. But the 1 seed still left around, and that's Kansas. They will be playing Providence here in the first game up, 7:30 Eastern in Chicago. 141.5 being the total, Teddy. -7 is available. More 7.5s, though, as we look across the board on the WagerTalk odds screen. That's the Jayhawks as the favorite. So Kansas -7.5, 141.5 the total, Teddy.
So, and Drew, I want to ask you a question. Do
Sure.
you remember the last time you saw a line move in favor of the Providence Friars?
No.
I feel like it's been months. I feel like every single game, the wise guys have been betting against Providence. You know, I cashed them over the weekend. I thought that point spread was silly. I only wish I'd have played it bigger against Richmond.
Against the Jackrabbits?
Complain. I had a good weekend, man. I'm not going to complain about not playing something bigger. But it's like it's a Providence team that has simply been the wise guys' nemesis. It reminds me, do you remember the year that the Patriots won? That was 2019. The Patriots won the Super Bowl, and the wise guys were betting against New England literally every game they played the entire second half of the season. We saw it again with Cincinnati, with the Bengals, where, you know, the anti-wise guy team with Cincinnati, where oh no, their statistical profile isn't good enough. We saw anti-Cincy money again and again. Providence has been that team, okay? You know, where the wise guy metrics, and we've talked about it a lot on this show and others. They were, quote unquote, the luckiest team in college basketball. This is the first time I can remember Providence getting money. You know, I mean, I can remember sometime in some other year in some other sport. The first time in recent memory this year that we've seen the Friars get money. And I think there may be that's telling me very clearly there's some anti-Kansas sentiment in the betting markets. And of course, Kansas had a really friendly venue for the Big 12 tournament. They had a really friendly venue again last week. This week they're in Chicago. May not be quite as friendly, but there's clearly been some market support for the Friars off the openers. 8s, 8.5s, they're gone now. Total wise, we're seeing a little bit of movement to the over. Open as low as 139.5, mostly 141s, 141.5s, and it's 141.5 basically across the board as we speak. If you like Providence, grab a 7.5 right now. I'm not convinced those are going to be there by tip-off.
Providence Friars bringing up luck. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that luck kind of ranking, but you can see why people bet it. And Providence, I think there's something to it though. Winning close games, kind of a more experienced team, also a talented team, finding themselves in the Sweet 16, catching 7 in the hook against Kansas at most shops, guys. We got one game left. Huge shout out to the chat box. Paco Healy in the house. He was hanging out with us. Good to see you,
Paco.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Paco's a good time, good people there in San Diego, California. He was in Las Vegas, though, hanging out with Teddy and I at the party. We got Tackman in the house, Godfather as well. Thanks to all you guys for joining us live. If you're liking the content, please smash that like button. If you're watching on replay, works as well. Feel free to drop a line below. What team you're looking to bet this weekend, where you're watching from, that is all welcome, guys. We got last game here. Last game on the card for this round as well, or for Thursdays, for this round, Thursday and Friday. Get my days confused after a week in Vegas. But Iowa State and Miami, Teddy, 133.5 being the total. Biggest swing that I believe off the board here, as we had a flip favorite. Iowa State opened -1 point favorite. Now we're seeing 2 and a hook on Miami. I didn't think it'd move this much, Teddy, but -2.5 here. So what a 3.5 point move in just about 24 hours, Teddy. So some huge Miami money. You bring up location with Kansas. This might be one as well. I mean, Miami doesn't really travel well really anywhere north of Orlando, Florida, but probably not going to travel well to Chicago, whereas Ames, Iowa, I'm not exactly sure where Ames, Iowa is in the state of Iowa, but of course, a lot closer to Chicago is what I'm saying here, Teddy. That might have something to do with it, but the market not really caring about that. They're giving Jim Larinaga in the U some respect here, -2 in the hook, 133. Is it too much respect? What are you thinking here, Teddy? Iowa State, Miami.
Yeah, this is the biggest line mover by far among anything. This is the one where we've seen the markets make a definitive statement that they like Miami. All right. Iowa State opened -1 at Circa and Westgate. They opened +1 at South Point and DraftKings, and now they're +2.5. Total-wise, another one where there was a dramatic variance, the biggest variance of any. I mean, we talked about these totals where books open. I think there was 2.5 point difference with the biggest. So there's a 5-point difference between one book and another. Opened as low as 131 at the Westgate, opened as high as 136.5 at DraftKings. And it's settled in the 133.5 range. We're still seeing Miami support. All right. The public's going to like Miami. The wise guys clearly like Miami. You've already missed the best of the number with the Hurricanes, but I don't think this number's coming back down. If you like Miami, again, you've missed the best of it, but this could easily go to 3. Could easily go to 3.5 or higher. So even though you missed the best of it, you like Miami, don't wait. We're not going to see. Again, Iowa was 2-22 last year. They were 0-18 in Big 12 play, and now they're in the Sweet 16. The markets are not going to respect a team like the Cyclones in a matchup against a Miami squad that all they've done all year is win games in hostile environments, win games on the road, win games away from home. I'm not surprised at all that Miami has taken the early money. All that being said, you're talking about systems in the NCAA tournament that works. You want the simplest system that I know of that works?
Yeah, let's hear it.
One that my friend Sean Hess passed along to me about 15 years ago, and I bet it almost every year. And that is, it's the simplest formula you can find. Find the team that allowed the fewest points in the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament that survived to the Sweet 16 and bet on that team in the Sweet 16. I think it's like 22-5 the last 20. I have to look up the actual numbers, but that simple, stupid thing where you bet on the team that allowed the fewest points in the first 2 rounds and is still standing, Iowa State falls into that category this year.
Okay, so Teddy, is a stat like that what made the odds makers open this Iowa State -1? Because right when this opened, I was looking to bet Miami. The market obviously agreeing with me. And after a 3.5-point move, like you talked about, the largest on the board by far, probably the largest in the Sweet 16 round in years, Teddy. What made them open Iowa State as the favorite?
Look at the Ken Pom numbers. Iowa State's ahead of Miami.
And that's it.
So I got to know, why did the numbers open where they were? Open up kenpom.com and you'll see why the numbers open.
Okay.
Iowa State is ranked about a point better than Miami, between a half a point and a point better than Miami, and that's where the number opened. Miami all year, the Hurricanes have been disrespected in the betting markets, and there are 16 teams in the Sweet 16, obviously. Miami ranks, according to the Ken Pom numbers, number 15 out of those 16 teams. Still standing. Only St. Peter's ranked lower than the Miami Hurricanes. So the fact that the wise guys in this instance, and again, you talk about who's moving these numbers on Sunday night and Monday morning, it ain't the public. The fact that the wise guys are looking at these Ken Pom numbers and going, yeah, we're betting on them for all this other stuff, but not this game, tells us perhaps that, tell us again that Ken Pom numbers just one piece of the overall betting equation, not the entirety of the betting equation.
We got Tyler in the chat box saying ISU 15-0 non-conference. Good point there. Oh, they're only losing to Big 12 teams. They actually beat Memphis, Xavier, Iowa as well. So it wasn't just kind of a walk in the park there. Their non-conference might be something to that. Good point there, Tyler. Tackman in the house saying he likes the under 133. Villanova 14-0 versus Michigan. That from Tackman as well. Is that something you would bring into the handicap there, talking about the Wolverines, Teddy? Nah. Too far back.
Like what? Yeah, I'm not. I'm really like that. To me, it's a fun stat to talk about. But is that actually going to have an impact on this year's game? I wouldn't think.
Okay.
Not for either team. It's not like Michigan's going in there going, well, Villanova's beaten us 14 straight times. No, they're not thinking about that because these aren't these kids. There's Nova sitting there going, oh, well, we beat Michigan 14. And how many of those matchups were like in 1936?
Right. Yeah.
It's not like these two teams play a whole lot.
Yeah. I got you. Good point there, Teddy. And guys, we got MLB on the docket as well, but make sure to check out WagerTalk.com, guys. We got a $9 Monday, the free live odds screen. That's what we were just working off of, moving down the board. So yeah, the best free live odds in the industry, free plays up and available at wagertalk.com. And like we talked about, $9 Monday, all plays discounted to just $9. Teddy up with a play. I'm up with a play. Check us out. Drew Martin experts page, Teddy covers experts page at wagertalk.com. Teddy, get into MLB. You ready to do this on the diamond?
Well, yeah, I mean, let's throw some openers. I mean, in terms of like,
okay.
In terms of me giving a full analysis of where these numbers are going to go, I can't do. But we call it the opening line report because when we have opening lines, we want to give them out. We have virgin numbers, the first MLB season win numbers that I've seen here in Vegas. So we wanted to share them with you guys. I haven't tracked the movement yet. I haven't put. I'll be honest, I haven't done 5 minutes of baseball work yet. No, that's not true. I haven't done an hour of baseball work yet. We will. We'll get there. We'll start the process this week and really move into it next week. But when we have virgin numbers, let's put them up there. Let's talk about them for a minute or two and do the best we can with the information that we have.
Absolutely. Teddy brings it up. I saw it just kind of walking around at the Westgate. They were posting them up, guys. They got the MLB season win total numbers. You know what, Teddy? I was thinking to myself, it's great marketing. They're thinking to themselves, so many people coming in, hey, let's get these season win totals up. It's a smart move. I love it from a marketing standpoint there, the Westgate. I'm just surprised more sports books haven't done it by now, Teddy.
Yeah, books, when it comes to virgin numbers, books are real reluctant to post those virgin numbers because they make a mistake, they're going to get beaten up bad. Yeah. So books tend to like to wait for somebody else to post the virgin. Many books like to wait for somebody else, and then you can see what the markets did off the openers. It's not a direct copy, because you don't want to copy the bad numbers. You only want to copy the good numbers. But see what the markets do off the openers and then post comparable numbers. That's not unusual to see. And again, I apologize. I just realized that I didn't send it over to get graphic. So we don't have it for you in graphic form. That's okay. Drew, we'll read them off.
Yeah, it's okay. And that's on me. I should have done that too. But Teddy, I did want to bring up.
It's on you, dude. You were flying the red eye home from Vegas last night. It was on me. I should have sent it in to get graphic. You're off the hook for this one.
All right. Thanks for that, man. One thing I do want to point out is rules changes. Rob Manfred, depending what you think of him, he definitely is changing the game. Rules changes for 2022. National League will adopt the designated hitter, Teddy. And then for 2023, there's big rules changes, but including pitch clocks and a ban on defensive shifts. I don't know if all that's going to go through. They got a year to talk about it. Not sure if you have any opinion on that. I guess we have a whole year to talk about those. But for this upcoming year, DH in the NL, your thoughts on it? One, I guess it is going to affect your handicapping for season win totals. It's more of an advantage for the NL now. No doubt about it. I'm a guy that likes the DH, Teddy, just from a fan standpoint. I like them actually being different in the different kind of aspects to go at your roster construction, to go at how you're handling your team. But from a handicapping standpoint, Teddy, the American League had a structural advantage. You could, kind of draft, go after DH, where the NL, it was more, hey, when you got the DH, it was just your next best hitter, you put them in the DH slot for your pitcher. So that's why the American League, since they did the interleague, had a better record. It wasn't because they're so much greater teams. It's because of the structural advantage. It took me a couple years to realize that, Teddy. But overall, does this make you look to bet NL overs and AL unders, or is it not enough interaction of the two leagues to really make a difference?
So it's an interesting question, Drew. I'll start with that. And whatever you're seeing in terms of off-season rule changes, all of these have one goal. Baseball wants more runs. Baseball wants higher scoring games. Okay. So when you have an instance where the league wants something, they're going to find a way to get it. What have we seen in the NBA? NBA totals used to be 170s, 160s sometimes. Now, the NBA said this is not a good product. We want a faster-paced league. You have Steph Curry come into the mix and teach people how to run a spread offense. at the NFL, at the NBA level, and now we've got totals in the 240s in the NBA. In the NFL, similar story. The rule changes. We want more offense. We want less defense. Let's protect the quarterbacks. Let's make pass interference easier to call, et cetera, et cetera. And what do we have? When I moved to Vegas, NFL totals always 37.5, 38.5. Now we see 58.5. Baseball hasn't gone through that transition yet. All right. Baseball totals, the lows are still 6.5, 7s. The highs are still 11, 11.5. National League parks, you see a lot of 6.5, 7s, 7.5s. That's going to change this year. And it's probably going to change in a hurry. And bettors should be aware, especially total bettors. I think from a total, in my mind, it has a bigger impact. All this has bigger impact on totals and sides. When we're talking about win totals, all right, I don't know how much this, certainly when you start breaking down the lineups and to start breaking down the pitching staffs and who can't get any outs, that's going to affect, your side for, your season win total perspective. But going into the season, my thought process, particularly in the National League, is, and remember, we're not getting those late March games where it's all cold, or the first week of April, the season's a little bit delayed, which is also good for over bettors. I'm leaning overs right out of the gate. I'll tell you that flat out.
Yeah, it's not a bad look, Teddy. I'll probably be with you. Just kind of with some of these changes. Also, guys, for the 2023 season, postseason expanding to 12 teams. So not sure that would matter as much. And also the player on second base for your totals, Teddy. One thing, and it was last year as well, for kind of the overs, it would help if a team went to extra innings. You start out with that runner on second base. It won't happen for the postseason, but in the regular season, something to keep in mind as well. We got Paco saying under on the San Diego Padres. They're 87.5 wins. Teddy, you got to look at some of these numbers. I'm looking at them here. I do agree with Paco, looking towards the San Diego Padres under 87.5. Another one I kind of looked at here, circled, didn't bet it yet. Colorado Rockies over 70 wins. I don't know. I kind of like their home field advantage there, and adding the DH. I actually think Colorado might be a beneficiary more than any other team in baseball with that. So seeing them with a win total of 70, hey, I know they're not stacked skill wise, but still Colorado Rockies over 70 was one I had circled. Did you have any circled here that you think might move, things you like season win total wise, Teddy?
Well, I want to run through the list. So let's just let me do that real quick, or maybe we can bounce them back and forth in another, because I think it'll get boring if I read them all off. But the Arizona D-backs, 66.5. That's the opener at the Westgate. Atlanta Braves over under 91.5 wins. Baltimore Orioles 64.5. Boston Red Sox look low at 84.5. Chicago Cubs rebuilding 75.5. The White Sox contenders over under 92.5 wins. Cincinnati Reds trading away pieces. I imagine this number's already been bet down. 71.5 at the open. Cleveland Indians, 76.5 at the open. Colorado Rockies, 70.5. Detroit Tigers expected to be more competitive this season. Line 78.5. They finish 500. They'll go over the total. The Houston Astros lined 92.5 wins. Kansas City Royals lined at 73.5 wins. The LA Angels, with the best player in baseball who's never done anything, 83.5 wins. For LA, right where they've been in every recent season. Good enough to be above 500. Not good enough to actually do anything in the postseason. The Dodgers lined at 100.5 wins. That was after they signed Freddie Freeman as well. That number can only go up. Miami, the Marlins at 73.5 wins. The Brewers lined over under 90.5 wins. Respect for Milwaukee in the betting marketplace. The Minnesota Twins over under 81.5 wins. They're expected to be just over 500. The Mets lined at 89.5 wins. And if you want one under, it just jumps off the page. That would be the Mets, in my mind, a team that has perennially underachieved, and to me looks like a mismatched roster filled with overpriced players that they're going to be hard to get rid of. I'm not bullish on the Mets coming in to 2022. The Yankees lined at 91.5, and I would argue betting them under the total too, especially given the Aaron Judge situation. where it is clear he is not vaccinated, even though he didn't want to say it, and there may be issues with whether he can play games in New York. The Oakland A's, 68.5 wins. We've been betting Oakland over for years. I don't know if I'm going to do it this year. They appear to be jettisoning pieces as opposed to picking them up. Still, 68.5 is low for Oakland. Philadelphia lined 86.5. The Phillies ever going to live up to expectations? This might be the year they're capable of doing it. I wouldn't argue with the Phillies over 86.5. The Pirates at 65.5. Where do they get 66 wins from? I went Pittsburgh under. San Diego, 87.5. On paper, the Padres just a notch below the Dodgers and the Giants. And San Fran, match what they did last year, 84.5. Betting markets say no. They say the Padres are the better of those two teams. I would be surprised if the Giants again overachieve. Seattle, 84.5. I love this Mariners last year. That team made me a bunch of money. Maybe my favorite team in baseball a year ago. 84.5. They're lined as being good but not great. St. Louis lined at 83.5. The Rays in Tampa Bay lined 91.5. The Texas Rangers, 74.5. The Toronto Blue Jays, who are absolutely loaded, 92.5. That number's short. Can only go up. And the Washington Nationals lined at 72.5. They're not. Again, they competed they won a World Series title, but are not at that level right now, clearly lined as a sub 500 team. Again, these are the Westgate's virgin numbers, the virgin openers. We like to go through those when we see them and when we have them. Just give you an idea of what the betting marketplace is doing in baseball right now. There's my 2 cents on the MLB openers. Drew, what about you?
Yeah, nice little rundown there. Every team on the board from Teddy covers. Teddy, a couple things that jump out to me. Los Angeles Dodgers, 99.5. Just that half tick under 100 triple digits. And it's a big drop off to the next team, and that's the Toronto Blue Jays at 92.5. Also, the Houston Astros at 92.5, as well as the Chicago White Sox. But that's a pretty big move from number one to the next three teams that would tie at number two. That's one thing that jumps off at me. Also, a couple of the rules.
And just real quick, Drew.
Yeah.
Just real quick. The Dodgers got bet up 99.5 to 100.5. So, you're looking at the sheet, and that they're a full win higher than they were already. So over money for LA.
And also something to notice here, guys, if you're new to kind of betting season win totals, primarily in MLB, because the scheduling is so, focused on in division, that sure enough, the Arizona Diamondbacks only 66.5. We went over it. The Colorado Rockies only 70 flat. So when you talk about, the Dodgers being very, very high, it's also correlated with some of the teams in the NL West, because they play 18 or 19, depending on the year and which team against those teams. So the wins got to come from somewhere. So the wins, the market is saying, are going to go to the Dodgers and come away from the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies. Also, to Paco's point here in the chat box, possibly away from the Padres as well. That's something to watch there. Teddy, also we get teams must play at least 155 regular season games for action. Now, these are sportsbook rules at the Westgate Sportsbook. Make sure to read the rules at the sportsbook you place your bets at. But I found that interesting. 155.
That's short.
Teddy. I know. A lot. Most years, it's 162 game season. Most years it's 160. For whatever reason, Teddy, they're going 5 games less this year. And that makes me look under more than over, Teddy.
Absolutely. And that's a great point. It's an astute note as you're looking at the sheet. That's one of those deals. You got to look in the fine print at the bottom.
Yeah.
But yes,
at the bottom.
It's usually 160 or 160.5. And this year, concerns about COVID, concerns about whatever. They're like, if you play 155 games, we get to grade this ticket.
Right.
Which, again, you don't know that you're going to see 155 game seasons. MLB's done a real good job of avoiding that in the past. But this is, I guess, protecting the sports books in a sense, or giving them a chance to get a little bit more profit, because they know that there's likely to be more over money than under money on a lot of these. So It is definitely a rule change worth paying attention to. And each individual book is going to have their own how many games a team must play in order to cash this ticket, or before it gets refunded and graded as a push. Be aware of that particular piece of fine print so you don't get any nasty surprises in late September.
Sure. Yeah. 155 guys. Also about the scheduling, I believe next year, not this year, they're going to change the schedule to every team plays every team. That's not this year though. So if you were bringing that into your handicap, and last thing here on the rules, all bets are action despite team relocation or name change. So something to keep in mind, because, hey, we're seeing it with the Toronto Blue Jays. It sounds like they're not going to let players that aren't vaccinated play in Toronto. So that could be something. And if Toronto somehow changes, they're kind of covering their butt there to make these bets count at Westgate, Teddy, in terms of nothing's really going to take it off the table.
If somehow in the middle of the season the Blue Jays moved to Wichita and changed their name to the Snails, the bet's still, the bet's still in play. It's just that's again, the books protecting themselves from a name change or a move, an in-season. I guess the A's could move in theory if the Coliseum becomes unplayable mid-season. Stranger things have happened. The sewage backs up all the way through the locker rooms, and you just can't play in Oakland anymore. That could happen, but not likely. But again, that's just where the books protecting themselves.
Well, and Teddy, it was one of the news stories on the local news when I was flipping through the channels there in Vegas. People are getting excited. It really might happen in terms of they're looking at 5 different locations there in Las Vegas for setting the stadium for, I guess, the Las Vegas A's. Do you think this is something that's going to happen sooner rather than later?
If it's going to happen, it's going to happen sooner. If it's going to happen, I think this year will be the new year that we would know if the Raiders if the A's are actually going to move here. I feel bad. I don't want to steal all of Oakland's teams. I feel like we're stealing teams from them, and I honestly worry about the long-term viability of baseball. I don't see baseball like if we're talking about like 50 years from now, like your kids and my grandkids and all that, they're like, well, are they going to baseball games? Is baseball still going to be a thing? I'll take the under. So I don't know if Vegas wants to be putting that type of capital into that type of venue. We have lots of venues in this town. Not like we're really hurting for another one.
I don't know, Teddy. I'll take the other side of that, man. A retractable roof with a bunch of bars and restaurants, walking distance from the strip, an MLB team. I think that would be successful. I really do, Teddy. That's Wrigleyville. That's Petco Park type success, man. I think it would really work.
Okay, I'm not. It might. Baseball is what I'm worried. I'm not worried about like a cool little venue or a cool venue near the strip with bars and restaurants is great. But if 20 years from now, no one's coming to the games, baseball could look like horse racing. And then it doesn't matter what, how nice the area around it is. They're not making new baseball fans. Young kids aren't playing baseball. They're not watching baseball, and baseball doesn't seem to care. And at some point, it's going to catch up.
Okay. Well, 20 years down the road, we'll see what happens, Teddy. Hopefully this show's still going strong on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Please smash that like button if you're liking the content. Feel free to reply below, guys. Teddy covers Drew Martin going live each and every Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, opening line report style. Did the Sweet 16. We got openers and MLB season win totals. And Teddy, I'll end it with this. In terms of entertainment value for your money, I think MLB season win totals are the best bet you can possibly make. You get 162 games of excitement. So if you're $100 better, $1,000 better, you get to spread it out over a whole long period of time. And it's still only a minus 110 price tag, meaning you're only having to risk $110 to win $100. Whereas futures, because people might say, oh, well, you get that same thing in futures. No, you don't, because they charge you more to do that. And the likelihood of you still being in contention with a futures ticket is less. Whereas season win totals, you're likely going to be around there, up until the last couple weeks of the season. So it gives you a lot of entertainment value for dollars spent. That's just my opinion, Teddy, but I'll throw it over to you, man. I know we're up against it time-wise. Any final thoughts for the show and before we shut it down?
Well, you're preaching to the choir when it comes to our season win bets, good bets. Yes, they're good bets. They can be very good bets. And the fact there's only two options, yes or no, over or under, means that the house takeout very reasonable on season wins in comparison to what you see in a lot of the futures betting marketplace. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate all of you who were in Vegas this last weekend hanging out with us. For sure, it was a whole lot of fun. And the next time we do it, for those of you who weren't here and those of you who were, hope you get a chance to come to Sin City. It can be a whole lot of fun. That's all I got, Drew. Go get some rest, my friend. You're a trooper.
Always a pleasure, Teddy. For sure, man. Will do. And guys, make sure to check out WagerTalk.com, $9 Monday, the free live odds screen, free plays. Roger in the chat box. Hopefully we still are going in 20 years. And we will definitely be a little bit older. KZ as well, hanging with the Hershey's. Welcome on in, buddy. And Glenn, hi to you as well. Good seeing you guys in Vegas. Paco saying here's to 20 years. We got it, guys. We will we'll still be chugging. And next week for sure, back here, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Come back and join us for the opening line report. For Teddy Covers, I am Drew Martin. Best of luck with your bets, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.